Hello, welcome back to the Smart Start Recreational Therapy Insights YouTube channel. This is week number 10, guys. We have made it through 10 episodes, and I have been so stoked to be providing these insights into the field for you. My name is Nathan Lillemaster. I am the owner and founder of Smart CU's Hub. If you haven't tried out Smart CU's Hub, we're an online continuing education platform for recreational therapists, all NCTRC pre-approved. And as we go into the series, all topics that we talk about will be about recreational therapy. This week, we're going to be talking about stress management and coping skills. So this could be a group that you provide to your clients that you see. Could also be something that helps you as a recreational therapist deal with your own stress. But I am stoked to be able to provide this for you today. And without further ado, let's dive right on in. All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is stress? So the science of stress. Stress is our body's natural response to challenge or demand. It triggers a flight or fight response, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline into our body. Okay, the types of stress that we could deal with are acute stress, which is short-term stress, like feeling nervous about an event or before you're about to do something, or chronic stress, long-term stress often due to ongoing challenges like health concerns, caregiving, or financial pressures. Okay, and there are some effects that stress provides on the body. We have the physical realm, right? So increased heart rate, muscle tension, headaches, and weakened immune system. We have an emotional side, which is anxiety, irritability, depression, and overwhelmness. And a cognitive side, which is difficulty concentrating, memory issues, and negative thinking. And then we have a behavioral area, which is avoidance, unhealthy coping, overeating, isolation, substance abuse, etc. Okay, so while stress can be motivating for some, it can also be a toll on our health, okay, and our well-being and our mental status and our quality of life. That's why we teach coping skills to help people deal with this type of issue. Okay, so there are types of coping strategies. Coping skills can help us process and manage stress in a healthier way. There are two main types of coping strategies. Number one, problem-focused coping. Okay, so that's used when you can change or directly adjust the source of the stress. Some examples might be time management, prioritizing tasks to reduce overwhelmness. Two, seeking support, talking to a friend, therapist, or support group. Okay, or three, breaking down problems, which are identifying specific actions to tackle challenges. Okay, and then number two, there's emotion-focused coping. So used when the stressor can't be immediately changed. So sometimes in life we have stressors that aren't just due to a specific circumstance, but there's something that's ongoing. And the goal is to manage these types of emotions that deal with that, because those emotions can lead us to behaviors which will not greatly improve our health, right? So some examples of this might be mindfulness and relaxation techniques. So deep breathing, meditation, and imagery can help you with this. I know that at the beginning of my days, I wake up around 6 a.m. and I go outside to my safe space, which to me is my backyard. I love my backyard. And there I spend some time drinking coffee, smoking a cigar. I know that's not a good coping skill, but for me, that's what I do. And I like to read and pray. That is my meditation before I start the day each day. Gets me on the right mindset and gets me calmed down from what it is that I have to do that day. Because as many of you know, I own a couple of businesses and I have a lot of people depending on me, and I want to make sure I'm the best me possible for them. Okay, and then physical activity, walking, yoga, and stretching. So, again, what I like to do after I finish my morning routine and I drop my daughter off for school is I like to go to the gym where I like to, um, you know, get some of my blood flowing, as well as some of my stressors out on the weights. I like to lift weights, that's for me. And each day I make that a priority, except for rest days. But, for me, that helps me cope and helps me deal with the day's stressors. Okay, and then creative expression. So art, music, and journaling. The way that I deal with stress sometimes is I actually work on art projects. I don't know if you can see in this video, but over to my left side, I have paintings that I do of my family as well as my pets, as well as I like to work with my daughter because she has shown some art propensities, and do some art projects with her, which is fun for me. It helps me to concentrate, helps me to de-stress from a stressful day, and keeps me on the right track. So you could do these with your patients as well as with yourself. Okay, so the best approach, which should be a balanced approach of both. Okay, so some stressors require action, while others require adjusting how we respond emotionally. So, as you've heard the quote, life is 90% how you react to something and only 10% of what happens to you. So, how you react to that 10% is really what's important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some recreational therapy intervention ideas that you can use for stress management. As recreational therapists, we can then introduce engaging, research-backed activities to help clients manage stress effectively. Here are some of the best interventions that I can come up with. One is mindfulness and relaxation techniques. So, deep breathing, encouraging diaphragmatic breathing to activate the body's relaxation response. So many of you know, and some of you might not know, that the way that we take in oxygen impacts how fast our heart rate goes. And so when you participate in deep breathing exercises where you take a deep breath in, so we're going to do this together. 1, 2, 3, breathe in. And breathe out. What you're doing is you're slowing down your heart rate. So if you're anxious or stressed, your heart rate will be raised. And by deep breathing, you are counteracting that issue in your body. So you are able to slow down your heart rate, which slows down the release of cortisol and adrenaline. Okay, so another exercise that you can do with a group is progressive muscle relaxation. So you're testing and relaxing muscle groups to relieve tension. So you might have a guided meditation group where you have a script that you printed out from the internet, where you have everybody sit in a circle, or you have a one-on-one client, let's say you're dealing with them, and you stay there, you say, okay, we're going to put our hands to the side, put our feet to the ground, we're going to close our eyes, and we are going to breathe. First, we're going to start with the breathing. Okay. And you might talk to them about, okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to relax our calf muscles and our feet. You're going to feel our feet merging in with the ground while you're taking these deep breaths. And then you're going to work your way up. So our diaphragm. We're going to relax our shoulders. Let gravity take them. We're going to relax our head. And as you do that, you can see that your body gets in this more relaxed state, thus lowering your adrenaline and your cortisol response in your body. Okay, so guided imagery is another way to help with doing this. So when we do meditation or guided meditation, we might talk about, okay, when you close your eyes, I want you to imagine the most beautiful place you've ever been. I want you to see yourself there with your loved ones, and I want you to realize that all of your cares and all of your worries are being taken care of. You have nothing to worry about. You are safe. You are loved. You are accepted. And you are okay. Okay, so when you do that guided imagery and you put them in those places, it is another way that you can deal or help them deal with the stress that they're going through. Okay, another coping skill that we can use is movement-based coping. So yoga and stretching. So with any type of movement, right, where let's say we're doing yoga, where we can be calm and relax, as well as get some blood flowing to different muscle groups in our body, we are going to naturally lower our cortisol and our adrenaline levels. So with yoga, you might stand up, right? You might bend over, relax. You might go on the floor, do some different yoga poses, those types of things, and those will help the client with their stress and their anxiety dealing with life, right? So Tai Chi and Qi Jong. So it's gentle rhythmic movements that combine mindfulness and motion. So with Tai Chi, right, you can take good energy in, push it out, push bad energy out. Good energy in, push bad energy out. Okay, and there are actual Tai Chi lessons that you can learn. A provider for this would be Chair Chi, if you've ever heard of them, by Pat Griffith, who goes to a lot of rec therapy conferences. He's a great guy, and he teaches Chair Chi. So what you can do within a seated position to incorporate Tai Chi practices to help deal with stress and anxiety. Okay, so another way you can deal with it is through outdoor activities. So being out in nature, gardening, hiking, those types of things can help you deal with stress. As a study has been presented that whenever you are around bodies of water or whenever you are within a lot of foliage where you can see trees, people tend to be at a more relaxed state. This is one thing that I've incorporated into groups that I've led, where we take it outside and we're in like nature. So we have trees around, we have fresh air, we have all of that, and people feel more at ease just not being cooped up in a building. So you might want to incorporate that in your practice. That could be something useful for you. Okay, another coping skill that rec therapists can use is expressive arts and creative coping. So art therapy, which we are not art therapists, but we are providing art as a means to therapy. So we want to make sure we're not calling ourselves art therapists and we're not calling ourselves music therapists, okay? Because those are different professions. But as a recreational therapist, we can use art and music as a means to help people cope. So with art therapy, we might do painting, drawing, or sculpting, those types of things as an outlet to get things off of our chests. You might lead a group and say, I want you to create a painting of how you would like your life to be after being here at the hospital. What can you envision your life being like outside of the hospital? Now, I can tell you from my own personal experience that some people, the majority of people, actually create positive experiences where they feel like Afterwards I feel like my life is going to be better. But there are some that are going to be looking at what they're going through and they can't really see past the clouds yet. And they create a scene where they feel like it's going to be a destruction. Well, that actually is useful as well when you go to your treatment team meetings and you can talk to the team about, okay, this person really doesn't feel hopeful about what's going to be after they leave the hospital. What kind of things can we put in place to help them so that when they leave the hospital, some of these fears or things that cause stress or triggers that they have won't be the same. They won't be the things that could potentially lead them down the self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak. Okay, so these are things that you can address in advance, and getting this expressive outlet for them can help you to determine what those are. Okay, so music therapy is another one. Again, we're not music therapists, but we can use music as a therapy. Okay, I could be listening to calming music with like no lyrics. So like classical music or piano music, elevator music, those types of things. Okay, it could be drumming or doing something as a group to get stress out, right? I'm making something. It could be songwriting. Another thing that goes along with songwriting for a lot of people is writing lyrics, which could also turn into like poetry, those types of things. Sometimes that expressiveness can help them get their thoughts on paper and help them deal with whatever is going on in life. For me, I like to talk about myself sometimes because this is what I do. When I get overwhelmed and stressed, and this is something that's kind of embarrassing, but I'm going to share with you, is I like to do karaoke. I'm not the best singer in the world, but for me, like when I go outside and I use like YouTube and I look for a karaoke version of a song, I like to record myself singing the song or rapping, because I also like to rap, and put my own spin on some songs and put my own spin on the raps. Also, I write my own lyrics as well. That helps me cope with the things that I'm feeling. So that might be something your clients can use as well. Okay, another thing is journaling. Okay, so using guided prompts to help your clients reflect, express feelings, and track stress patterns. So that might be a reflection on their day, their ups, their downs, their things that they're looking forward to, things that they are going to work on in the future, some goals. Okay, that could be part of journaling. It could just be right when a certain circumstance happens, being able to write about it and deal with that stress that's dealing with that acute situation. Okay, so that could be something that they do in their journals. A lot of times we feel like we need to say what we're thinking, and maybe if we said it to the person or people that we're stressed out about, right, it would cause more issues. But getting it out on paper and then maybe destroying the paper afterwards, burning it in the fireplace, shredding it, whatever the thing is, might be sufficient to deal with that stress. I know that sometimes that's what I've done, okay, when, I don't know, breakups happen or whatever else happens. Not saying that I've been broken up with in a long time. I've been married to my wife for 13 years. We're doing great. So no worries there. Okay, so another stress management technique would be social and recreational engagement. So laughter and play therapy, games and humor-based therapy. So as the saying goes, laughter is the best medicine, right? So if I can get myself to a place where I can take my mind off of the worries of the world, maybe go to a comedy show, maybe participate myself in like an improv show, or hear some good comedy on YouTube, or something of that nature. It might help me to deal with those types of feelings. Pet therapy is another one, right? So pets have a calming effect on a lot of people. So that might be dogs, cats, rabbits, other types of animals. Okay, and that can help you with mood or creativity. There's a nice course on Smart CU's Hub about animal assisted therapy. If you are wanting to implement something like that in your facility, there are some instructions on how to do that and how that actually works with clients. Group bonding activities, so team games, collaborative projects, and storytelling circles. So any type of activity that increases the warmness of different clients with each other, right? Where they feel like we're in this together and we're not part of things all alone, can actually help with their coping with whatever situation they're dealing with. Sometimes we actually, as humans, we just need to know that other people understand. And what we're dealing with, there are other people dealing with it. And if they could deal with it, we can deal with it. And having that group dynamic can actually be really helpful for a lot of people. Okay, so one of the best things about recreational therapy, in my opinion, is that stress management doesn't just have to feel like work. It can feel fun. It can feel relaxing. It can feel like something you want to do. It can be creative, right? So, as a recreational therapist, we have a unique ability to provide this outlet for many people. Okay, so now we're going into helping clients building healthy coping routines. It's just not about teaching healthy coping skills. It's about helping clients integrate them into their daily life. And here's why. And here's how. So, personalized coping plans help clients identify which techniques work best for them. Okay, so you might meet with one person and certain coping mechanisms work better for that person, while another person, a different set of coping skills work, right? Our goal is to give them the best tools possible so that when they leave, they can be in a better place than when they came. Thus, we did our job, right? So, another one would be daily practice. Encourage small, manageable steps. For instance, like saying 5 minutes a day, you'll do deep breathing and then stretching. And then you're going to go to the gym for 30 minutes. You're going to be working on these things to help increase your heart rate and then get some endorphins flowing. Those types of things can actually be really useful because they provide practical instructional steps for the clients. Okay, reinforcement through reflection. We could say, okay, we're going to take our journal with us to each of our groups, and we're going to reflect on whatever the group was for that day, and we're going to talk about it later. You're going to go back into your room and kind of talk about how you felt, some things that this therapy brought up for you, some things that you would like to address, and maybe some coping skills that you can use to deal with it if the group was something that was instructional. Okay, so we're also going to encourage social support. So a lot of times if people are all by themselves and they're left to their own devices, unfortunately human behavior a lot of times states that they will fail at whatever it was and they won't be successful, unfortunately. We need other people. Jesus, which, I'm a Christian, even had 12 disciples. Okay, so he demonstrated to us that we need other people to help us to be successful. Not that Jesus needed help, but he showed humans that we need this social impact. And I personally believe that having a support group, friends, family, etc., a formalized support group that you go to can help you to be more successful, because that leads to accountability, that leads to encouragement, that leads to outlets for you whenever you're dealing with these stresses, instead of just being by yourself where those things can happen and you just go down the deep end. And we don't want that for our clients, and we don't want that for ourselves. Okay, so coping skills work best when they become habits. Okay, so the rule of thumb is that any new skill that you teach a client, they have to practice it for at least 3 weeks consistently before it can start to form a new neural pathway in the brain, which then can become a habit. This is the term of brain plasticity. So the way that our neuropathways work with a thought, a feeling, and a behavior, right? Those types of three different neurons that fire off, right? We need them to get to where they're feeling a certain way, which is the feeling. They have a certain thought, I'm going to go do this thing, and then they do that behavior. A lot of times they develop negative coping skills, and so do we, right? When we reinforce those negative coping skills. Okay, so we know when we feel a certain way, we go do a certain thing, and it makes us feel a certain way. But then at the end, then there's a negative outcome. So we're trying to teach them a positive way to deal with that. Okay, so wrap up and some takeaways. Let's review today's key takeaways. 1. Stress is natural, but chronic stress can negatively impact health and well-being. 2. Coping strategies fall into 2 categories: problem focus, solving an issue, and emotion focus, managing reactions to life circumstances. Number 3, recreational therapy offers engaging interventions from mindfulness to movement to creative expressions and social interactions. 4, clients benefit most when coping strategies become part of their daily life, right? We need those behaviors to become habits. And as we spoke about previously, that requires repetitive responses to feelings and thoughts to achieve a certain reaction, which is the desired reaction, which develops the habit. All right, guys, thanks so much for chiming in for week number 10 of the Smart Start Recreational Therapy Insights YouTube channel. I'm Nathan Lemaster, and I've loved doing these series for you. We're going to be talking about community reintegration strategies next week. So when they leave the place that you're helping them at, what will they do when they enter the community again? And that's what we'll be talking about next week. If you like what you saw today, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you get these weekly in your YouTube feeds. And share these with your friends. Share these with your colleagues if you feel like they could benefit from them as well. And thank you guys so much. And happy Monday. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And as always, recreational therapists, stay classy.